Dr. Ravi Kumar to welcome both the chief guest as well as the speaker and other participants. Dr. Ravi Kumar, please.
Thank you, sir. Very good evening to one and all.
Ravi Kumar,
On behalf of Telangana
to
Library
welcome.
Association and Department of Library and Information Science, Government City College, welcoming you all for today's guest lecture on who owns the knowledge and open access perspective on the occasion of International Open Access Week, that is 20 to 26th October 2025. I welcome for the today program the chief guest Professor K. Pratap Reddy Garu, Vice Chancellor Kakatiya University Warangal, and guest speaker Sri N.V. Satyanarayana Garu, Chairman Informatics Bangalore, and I also welcome Dr. K. Padmavati, Principal Government City College, and also I welcome all the senior LIS professionals and TSLA members are requested to welcome for this today guest lecture. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Now I hand over to Professor Lakshman Rao, sir.
Today we are celebrating the International Open Access Week. I'm sure the moment you look at the topic, who owns the knowledge? Because research is being done by somebody, published by somebody, subscription money is paid by somebody. So there are so many processes. Actually, the researcher is the person who creates the knowledge. But the same thing is sold by the journal publishers. So the process is in the moving from researcher up to the scholar. Again, it will go through 4 or 5 phases. Now the question is, we are able to see recently Sci-Hub, where latest journals are also freely accessible. Of course, it is a pirated. Recently, High Court in India also given not to use it. However, it is internationally accepted, and people are using it. Everybody is using it. Looking into all these things, now the question in the International Open Access Week: who owns the knowledge? This is the topic given by the organizers of International Open Access Week, and we all know that open access is going to become popular, and it is indirectly or directly helping without paying money, what we call APC, or without paying access charges. We are in a position to we want to access them, and Satyanarayana Garu is a master. He will be able to explain you what is what. Then coming to Telangana Library Association, we started after Telangana was formed. Telangana Library Association was started in 2014. Until now, we have done about 75 to 80 programs, seminars, webinars, etc. Mostly we do educative programs. We are not into politics. We are not into agitations. But we make the representations to the concerned people. And that is how Telangana Library Association, we want to celebrate International Open Access Week, and this program is here. And we are thankful to Professor Pratap Reddy Garu for making it possible to join us. And also thanks to Sri Satyanarayana Garu for joining this program and delivering lecture, because Satyanarayana Garu has vast knowledge, because he is the master in the publishing industry. And also he has introduced several new innovative ideas, innovative publications, innovative services. Today, he is known everywhere in the country and more outside the country also. And one of the best service that you can remember is JGate. I don't like to say more because there is another gentleman, Dr. Chakravarti, who will be able to introduce. Now I request Dr. Chakravarti to introduce both chief guest as well as the main speaker. Dr. Chakravarti, please.
So good evening, one and all, sir. Respected Pratap Reddy, sir. Respected N.V. Satyanarayana Garu, Professor Lakshman Rao Garu, and my dear colleagues, it's my privilege to introduce today's chief guest, Professor K. Pratap Reddy Garu, also my mentor when he was in Osmania University. Professor Pratap Reddy Garu is a distinguished academician and researcher in the field of zoology with over 3 decades of teaching and research experience. Born on June 15, 1961 in Acharam, Sangareddy district, Telangana. He completed his early education at Usman University, where he earned a BSc honors in zoology with distinction in 1981. He went on to receive an MSc in neurobiology in 1983, followed by a PhD in zoology. It's also in neurobiology in 1988, also from Usman University. Professor Reddy Garu began his academic career as an assistant professor at Usman University in 1989 and steadily advanced through the ranks, becoming an associate professor in 98 and a full professor in 2006. He retired in 2021 after a prolific career during which he contributed extensively to both teaching and research. He has mentored for 25 PhD students and has over 104 publications in national and international journals, with over 1,319 citations and a notable H index of 16. And his academic contributions also include the presentation of 487 papers at various conferences, the publications of 7 books, and the completion of 12 major research projects. In addition to his teaching and research accomplishments, Professor Reddy Garu has held several key administrative positions at Usman University. He served as a Dean of Faculty of Science from 21 to 22 and was the principal of the University College of Science from 2018 to 2020. He also held the position of Registrar at Usman University from 2013 to 2014. Further, he served as the head of the Department of Zoology, the director of the Directorate of Admissions, and the chairman of the Board of Studies of Zoology Department. His leadership extended to the Ross Institute of Parasitology, where he served as director from 2016 to 2018. Throughout his career, Professor Reddy Garu has been recognized with several prestigious awards. He received the State Meritorious Teacher Award from the Government of Telangana in 2017 and the UGC BSR Mid-Career Award in 2015 from the UGC, New Delhi. His early research excellence was acknowledged with the SS Parmar Foundation Prize in 1987. His academic legacy continues to inspire many in the field of zoology, particularly in the area of neurobiology. Sir, welcome to this program, sir. We are happy to see you in this program, sir. Thank you very much. And now I introduce N.V. Satyanarayana Garu, Chairman, Informatics India Private Limited. He is from Bangalore. And I'm also part of JCCC and JGATE earlier before ONOS. And as early pioneer in online information business in India, Mr. Satyanarayana started his entrepreneurial career in 1980, promoting informatics in India, which is a public limited company now. Prior to starting this venture, he worked as the Indian Institute of Science, HMT and Smithland and French, all in Bangalore. He promoted digital information access and usage culture in India across the academic, research and industrial R&D organizations. Long before the internet, by introducing international online databases access in 1980s, he is associated with several professional, academic and government bodies. Chairman, Working Group on Libraries and Knowledge Network, Karnataka Knowledge Commission, set up by the Government of Karnataka from 2018 to 2012. And member Working Group on Connect Creation and Content Industry of the National Task Force on Information Technology and Software Development, set up by the Office of the Prime Minister of India from May 1998 to 2000. Member UGC Committee on the Organizational Restructuring of NAC UGC 2008 to 2010 and Adjunct Professor, Department of Library and Information Sciences, University of Mysore from 2002 to 2003. President, Karnataka State Library Association from 1999 to 2001. Vice President, Society for Information Science, India 2003 to 2008. Members, Sectorial Group on Information Technology, Resource and Products from the 11th five-year plan constituted by the Planning Commission for CSR in 2006. Member Research Council, National Institute of Science, Communication and Information Resources, NISCARE CSIR, New Delhi 2010 to 2017. Member Board of Studies in Library and Information Science at SNDC DT, Women's University, Mumbai 2000 to 2005. Mysore University, and Somai Vidya Vihar University, Vidya Vihar, Mumbai, from 2021 to 2024. He led the organization of a few major international conferences programs in India, which includes Infotech 93, Database Production and Distribution Technologies, Bangalore, organized by the Society for Information Sciences, SIS. First National Conference on Digital Libraries in India in 1996, Bangalore, by the Bangalore chapter of SIS. InfoVision 2005, the first International Information Industry Summit, Bangalore. Library Technology Conclave, LTC, annual event since 2016 onwards. Awards, he received several awards, including recipient of Young Information Scientist Award in 1991 and the Best Librarian conferred by the Government of Karnataka in 2006. Karnataka Granthalaya Ratna conferred by the Karnataka Library Association in 2025. Thank you very much, sir, for introducing two eminent personalities in this online program. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Chakravarti. I'm sure I wanted to give you one piece of information that Satyanarayana Garu is a library science graduate.
Sir.
Right. And we are proud of him because the way he served, the way he introduced innovative. Nowhere in the world, probably big publishers also have never thought of such ideas, whatever he has done. Welcome, Satyanarayana Garu. Welcome, Professor Pratap Reddy Garu. Now I request Professor Pratap Reddy Garu to address the gathering.
Good evening to everyone. Professor N. Lakshman Rao, a distinguished library academic and a scientist of Osmania University and president of Telangana Library Association. And Professor Padmavati, the principal of Government City College, Hyderabad. Dr. C.H. Ravi, the secretary for Telangana Library Association, and very highly esteemed academician in library science and informatics, Sri N.V. Satyanarayana Garu, and my colleague at Osmania, Dr. S. Chakravarti, and other librarian professionals at Osmania University, and all participants of this webinar today on the occasion of the International Open Access Week of 2025 celebrations. I'm happy to share this evening with all eminent library sciences who are selflessly working for the benefit of the society and most of the academics and researchers. Without the contribution of the professionals in the library science, this is not possible to have a good quality research in any university or any research institute. In the International Open Access Week, the theme pointed out on this webinar, that is, who owns our knowledge, and open access perspective is a right thing to create an awareness on both academician researchers and the library science professionals and the publishers also. As a modest scientist and academician from a university, I feel that this is necessary because the knowledge, not only from research and also from any literary and other aspects, generated, and it should be available for all. And this is in the era of the digitalization, where we have a lot of expectations of the availability of the knowledge and the recent discoveries added to this. The wealth of the knowledge should be accessible to each and everyone. But what is happening, everybody knows it. All is funded by public institutions or state governments or philanthropists, and this knowledge should be freely accessible to each and everyone. That is a research scholar, a student or postgraduate of different professional courses, academician and research. And whatever the technology evolved, it is making visible that this is available to everyone. But as I see, there are a lot of limitations maybe in the processing charges or the availability of this information to a general student, a research scholar, or an academician in university, where they lack the funds and spend on the literature collection or the collection of the the literature background, which can be used for the conceiving the new ideas and new work in the research activities. And be concerned for that, whatever the knowledge is generated is under which authority? And this is the question of most of the layman or an academician, because most of these scientific data is managed by the publishers. I assume that publishers are managing and making channelizing through the libraries and the information databases. And everyone feels that this should be open access, that it should be available without any cost. Because one expectation is that whatever the knowledge generated because of the funding of the public money, which is paid by the taxpayers and other philanthropists, this should be easily available so that a person who is entering into the research and in the creation of a new knowledge, if there is no stress of putting money and time in this, that will enhance the quality of the research. There, the role of our all librarian professionals will come. Because as a scientist, as a researcher, I have a poor background how to collect this. Now, I know that traditionally by using your library cards and getting the literature survey, it used to be very cumbersome. But with the recent technology, particularly the information technology into this, it has become very easy. At the same time, a person expects that without any hurdles, whatever the knowledge base is there, new knowledge is created in the our society, that should be available to a person who is interested in doing research or contributing to academics. That will make a person's job very easy. I hope all trained professional librarians are maybe of the same view, where they should be easily available. But there are some technical difficulties or also monetary considerations. Despite of that, the one objective should be that this should be available across all education institution researchers as a free service. Then only the quality research can be progressed. It will be helpful to our society to have a much more quality research and generation of new knowledge. With this small my idea, I congratulate the Telangana Library Association under the able presidentship of Professor N. Lakshman Rao and all other members. It is a great contribution to create awareness in the form of webinars and other conferences, where I also earlier attended this Telangana Library Association meetings twice under the Lakshman Rao sir. He is almost a teacher to me, because I have joined 10 to 15 years back in the Osmania University, where I used to be tall personality in the campus. I expect his contribution should go on. And also we have a very good speaker with a lot of professional training and experience and regulatory body knowledge. And his guidance will be useful for all the candidates who are participating in the webinar. With these few words, I thank the organizers for giving the opportunity to have an interaction in the evening with all of you. I wish all the best and all the success for the Telangana Library Association. They should continue to organize such seminars, webinars, and help a common researcher where he can easily obtain the required literature for his research abilities. I thank you one and all, and also I wish all the best.
Thank you, Professor Pratap Reddy Garu. Thank you for making it possible.
Yeah, if you permit, shall I?
Yeah, I'm thanking you. Okay. Thank you very much. I know you are very busy, but still you could make it a point to come and address us. Thank you very much. And I know the libraries are going to get support under your leadership in the Kakatiya University area. Thank you very much for coming. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Now I request Professor Satyanarayana Garu I know it's very difficult to introduce him because Dr. Chakrabarti has introduced only a small thing, but I know his capacity, his knowledge, his ideas, his innovations, right? And I know it's very difficult to compete with him. And if you sit with him, you will be able to learn a lot of things because whenever I sit with him, I learn a lot of things. Even several times when I was going for a meeting at different places, I spoke to him, I got wonderful ideas which were innovative. Now I request Satyanarayana Garu to address the gathering. Thank you very much, Satyanarayana Garu. Please. Satyanarayana Garu. Yeah.
Good evening, friends. Professor Lakshman Rao and
Sir, your voice is so low, sir. Sir, your voice is so low, sir.
Professor Rao, can you hear me now?
Now it is okay, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now it is okay.
May I request others to mute, please?
Yes, sir.
The admin can mute everyone, sir.
I did it.
Main page.
Already muted. Host can mute others.
You don't operate, okay? Good evening, friends. I thank the Telangana Library Association for inviting me to speak to you all on this occasion of International Open Access Week. Thank you, Professor Rao. You have chosen a very interesting topic today on this occasion of this Open Access Week. What's knowledge? As Professor Pratap Reddy Garu told us, now this is a very interesting and debatable question. It has a philosophical perspective. It has an economic perspective. And it's a question which, particularly in the open access movement, every one of us ask, who wants the knowledge? Because
Matter of library. Libraries and subject.
there's some noise. Can everybody please mute? Oh, friends.
Sir, the admin can take an initiative to mute everyone other than the speaker. That
So I'm happy to talk to you about who wants the knowledge, which has been quite a bit of a controversial subject also in the field of library and information sciences, not only in that, broadly in the field of scholarly communication, which is a medium for distribution and providing access to knowledge. So I will be speaking on this topic broadly from an open access perspective. All of you are aware of open access. I don't need to talk to you about open access. As we go along, I spend a few minutes talking to you about the nuances of open access and its very journey itself in the 30 years and where it stands today, and what is the likely future it has, which is something whether it's going to replace the subscription model regarding journals, because when we talk about open access, prominently think about scholarly journals. Now, when we talk about the knowledge, knowledge is free. Rabindranath Tagore long ago wrote in his poem collection on Gitanjali, which is a poem, and where he said, in that where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free. And he goes on to say, into that heaven of freedom, where the knowledge is free. So he talks about the knowledge in the context of the heaven of freedom, which means it is a responsibility of every state and every citizen. Heaven of freedom. Knowledge is also a power. Today, we live in a knowledge society. All of you know how powerful the nations which know and have access to knowledge, who also control access to knowledge to retain the power. And all the large nations like the US and China is such a powerful when it comes to knowledge, owning the knowledge as a collective society. And we are no longer behind in this respect. And there are several measures you are all about, know about it. Today, the countries are ranked on the basis of their knowledge power. And knowledge is also an asset. It's a property. It's an intellectual property. So it has a value. It has an economic value. As the Vice Chancellor said, the knowledge has an economic implications. So this particular question makes the issue of knowledge is free quite debatable. And now, today what we are going to talk about is the open access movement in scholarly communication, where it stands today. When we talk about open access movement in scholarly communication, it largely focuses on peer-reviewed scientific journals, peer-reviewed scholarly journals. As all of you know, a significant part of the scholarly journals are, the content to that is a product of an output from the research community, where significant amount goes in and is predominantly public funded. And when there is a knowledge output which is a product of public spending, public funding and public spending, should it not be free? And these articles, when they are published in journals, should they become inaccessible because of high cost of journals? That bothered a lot of people. And this journal publishing industry is 300. And in the last 30 years, this movement started, which has taken a strong base now. And now this movement is trying to create an entirely new ecosystem for scholarly communication. Now, before I move further, since I mentioned that there is an economic perspective to the whole thing, what's the cost of this scholarly the journal that is published by the research and industry and higher education? Because what goes into scholarly journal is produced by R&D in the government sector, R&D in the public sector, private sector, and in higher education. And what is that economics? Just let us spend a minute in understanding that. As you look at this slide, the global spending is about $2.5 trillion. This is what is spent by both the government and industrial R&Ds. And very interestingly, the industrial R&Ds today in some countries are spending more than what the government spends. In India today, about 35% of research spending is by the industry. About 60 to 65% is by the state. And the spending on higher education globally is about $7 billion. That's almost about 3,250 billion. That's $3.2 trillion. Huge money. And 3.2 trillion, when I say India's GDP is about 4 trillion, close to about $4 trillion. You can imagine the economic value and asset of this whole research and development and spending on that. Now, what is spent on the global journal revenue? That the publishing industry, which publishes the journal, their revenue is about 0.34%. Now, why we are making, a mountain a molehill, making mountain out of a molehill, when it is just a 0.34% expenditure compared to the entire research and higher education expenditure. That question does arise when somebody looks at the whole thing from the economic perspective. But the issue here is that amount of information, the value of information has a very significant impact on the production of new knowledge. And it drives the entire research and innovation. It is the research and innovation in the world that contributes to social good. And now, if for the sake of any reason, if access to that knowledge becomes difficult, that's like almost shutting the innovation labs. So from that angle, this issue becomes very, very important. Friends, now when we look at the whole journal publishing system today, which is a 300-year-old, where now open access movement is trying to change the whole scenario to make it as much freely available, accessible to the users. It may have a cost for the publishing industry, the journal publishing industry, and more than the journal publishing industry spending, the authors themselves spend a lot of money in doing research. That is very significant, and it's not even easy to even calculate often. So in this journal publishing system, this itself today is going through major revolutionary changes. It's somewhat even crumbling because of a lot of changes predominantly in the post-internet digital transformation environment ecosystem. There are a lot of changes happening here, and it is actually the open access movement started driven by the internet itself, driven by the e-journals, and now open has actually now overtaken the subscription model. That's something interesting. Now, there are many questions that come to our mind when we talk about the journal system, when it gets moving into the open access ecosystem. Today, even the peer review system is very strained because of the volume of research papers published and the number of journals that are being published. And currently, India is also betting on ONOS at this juncture to make sure that everybody has easy access to significant number of all the important journals, which is made available to all the public institutions. So with this, this US $11 billion industry, will it survive? Or, because imagine there are today almost about 62,000 research journals that are actively published, out of which almost about 40,000 journals are open access journals. Another 20,000 plus are what we call subscription journals. And now there is a challenge both for the publishing industry and the scientific community and the authors and the users and the libraries on the future of this industry, because the open access system that started evolving has got into certain major challenges. I will come to that. Now, we need to take a lesson here from Mahatma Gandhi, when during the freedom movement, when he returned from South Africa, he spoke about, he wrote a book called Indian Home Rule, basically what was known as Hind Swaraj. And he wanted that to be accessible to everybody. There's a lesson here, as you see, it says, no rights reserved. You must have seen in all the books that have been published so far, and most of you, if you are an author, you'll always make sure, publisher make sure that there is a line called all rights reserved. Imagine Gandhi in those days thought about, he knew that because he himself was a lawyer, he knew about the copyright. So he did not want the publisher to put all rights reserved and make it restricted. He simply said no rights reserved. That means anybody can copy and distribute and do it. That was his greatest contribution, intellectual contribution to the freedom movement. And we really need to take a clue from here. If going by this, the question I thought of asking at the end, I will ask right now here itself, can't we make the scholarly journals no rights reserved publications instead of all rights reserved publications? Now, the agenda I have set for today is to talk about the journal publishing system, which is really crumbling, because there are problems, challenges, even with open access movement, because it's hijacked by publishers. And we'll also spend a little time on ONOS, though not much. Peer review system, which is considered the holy cow of journal publishing system. And will AI bring any cheers to us in this whole thing? Professor Rob, how many minutes you would like me to talk?
You can continue for another 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes.
Okay, then I will skip a few slides. Now, there are a few. Number one, when I talk about the journals are today caught in the midst of two unaffordable business models. One is subscription, and open access also has become an unaffordable business model, because subscription libraries were paying, they had a library budget. They didn't think about the cost of the article, they only thought about the cost of the journal. And when it moved to open access, the community thought that it will not pinch the authors, but the system evolved in such a way today that there will be a fee for authors to publish called APC. Earlier, in fact, if you look at other non-scholarly publication, like if you publish an article in India Today or a magazine or a newspaper, if you get paid as an author. Here is a situation where authors are supposed to pay to make the whole world access free, because authors want it to be available to everybody. But the cost of that has gone up now. That is why this question is arising. Now, the cause is, why open access movement, which started as a kind of solution for making the access free for all the scholarly journals published, why has it got into a serious problem, a kind of a problem which was unexpected? I said publishers have hijacked it. One is the inelasticity of demand. What I mean is, when the demand is inelastic, the price increase will not reduce the demand for journal access. If it is an essential requirement, because for journals are very essential for these scholars. So even if it is costly, they have to buy it. The libraries have to buy it, institutions have to buy it. In such a case, why the prices keep going up? What is the reason for this inelasticity of demand? It's largely because of the copyright issue. The authors, driven by what you call publish or perish syndrome and other factors, give away exclusive copyright to publish at any cost. This is where the problem starts. This is the copyright confusion and conflict is the fundamental thing behind this is becoming increasingly expensive today, which I will tell you about. There are 3 versions of research papers in a subscription model. Version 1 is author's manuscript. That is what we call greenwashing. Now there's a version that is what author makes it available before publishing. He gives it to an archive. You call it preprint. Authors own the copyright. Version 2, authors accepted manuscript. That is after it is peer reviewed and edited. And this is what the authors wanted, particularly open access movement advocates wanted to be archived for open access. But the problem is, this copyright is for this owned by the publisher. So it has become a publisher permitted for the archive. And publishers are actually authors archive. Third is
ఎంత పెద్ద గొప్ప అంటే నంబాల వెంకటేశ్వరరావు ఆర్ఈసీ కాలేజ్ అంటే 1980s ఆ కాలేజ్ చదవడమే గొప్ప దేశంలో.
Can you mute it, please? So there are there are multiple versions coming out like this in the subscription model. So this is also adding to conflict. In open access is something free from publishers' control. Now, it's a non-exclusive copyright assignment to publishers. Now, there are 2-3 models tried here. One is the publisher should not have any control if it is open access. So in fact, there was an attempt by MIT where the MIT authors decided to give non-exclusive copyright assignment to publishers. In those days, Elsewhere, the deal with Elsewhere fell out because Elsewhere did not want to publish anything if their copyright is non-exclusive in nature. Now, there is also the issue of copyright assignment versus copyright retention. In open access model, copyright will have to be necessarily retained by the author. This is something every author should know. In fact, it is still now not happening in an organized fashion. So the copyright should be retained by the author and he will be assigning it to the publisher. He will be assigning it to the publisher not for exactly publishing as a service. The relationship between the publisher and the author completely changes here. publisher will be just a publishing service provider and no longer a publisher. He will have absolutely no right, like a printer. You give something to a printer to print. Just because he does the printing, he does not become the owner of it. He does not have a copyright. In the same way, publishing, he shouldn't have any right. But unfortunately, in the open access movement today, it's still not happening. Publishers are not labeled as publishing service providers. And the copyright is not retained, while in open access copyright is retained by the author, publisher will still have a copyright for the published version, as I showed in the previous slide. This is the challenge where open access advocates have still not given a serious consideration as much. So the third cause is, of course, scientists want to publish, need to publish for the tenure awards, etc. That makes it somewhat compulsive for them, mentally compulsive for them to give away their rights. So I would say it is in the hands of the author to consciously change that habit. So now another thing is monopoly over author's content. So this is also because the copyright issues. What happens? Publishers have high brand value for each of their journals, and authors want to publish in their branded journals. The brand of the journal itself becomes the reason for authors to publish. This is what we call oligopoly. That this is also related to the exclusive copyright authors give it away. So at this point of time, authors are also mentally divided because they're concerned about their tenures. So this dependency on authors allowed publishers to increase subscription cost continuously. So it's also going beyond. I think I don't have to say much about how the publishing industry is working with the cost going up and up. Now, here you can get an idea of when we talk about the publishers, it is not just the commercial publisher. There is a feeling that, thinking that it is largely commercial publishers who are the main problem. But the thing is, all publishers, including professional society publishers today, are playing their own games to continue a model where it is beneficial to them. Now, if you look at it, the learned society publishers, some of them have more than US $100 million and above revenue. You just get an idea in this. You just see American Chemical Society's revenue is $670 million. A lot of publishers don't have that. Commercial publishers don't have that kind of revenue, barring people like Wiley, Elsewhere, Springer, etc. American Psychological Association, 130 million revenue. So Massachusetts Medical Society, 130. AAAS, American Association for Advancement of Science, $114 million revenue. So learned societies are also equally responsible for the situation. So coming back, this whole open access movement started about 25 to 30 years ago. Open access movement presented the open access in many colors like green, gold, bronze, diamond, etc. I'm not going to speak about it. But today we are stuck with an open access model which is getting even more expensive than what was. I mean, in some cases, you must have already heard about publishing an article in Nature costs almost about $10,000. Now that is very ridiculous. How did it happen? And American Association for Advancement of Science, even they charge about $2,000 to $3,000. It's a non-profit society. You just see here, the American Chemical Society, they charge $2,500 per article as they call it article development charges. They have several of their own reasons. Now, if American Chemical Society charges $2,500, should we question someone like commercial publishers charging $3,000? So that is a major challenge today. Now, how affordable is this? In fact, article processing fee, when you look at it, there are in the whole spectrum, there are publishers charging $250 per article. There are publishers charging $3,000, as I said. There are about a lot of publishers charging $3,000 and above. As you see here, the people charging $2,000 in the range of $2,000 to $2,000 plus is very high. Even that's very expensive, even for not only countries like India, even for developed world. It just gives you an idea of the APC revenue today. Just top 6 publishers APC revenue has gone up. That's what the authors spend or authors institutions spend is already $2,576 million. That is $2.5 billion. This is 2023 figure. In 2005, it could be as the growth is happening, it could be close to about $4 billion. So open access started with a movement started with an idea of making the articles available, accessible, free. While it becomes accessible free, it becomes expensive for the author. And in this case, since authors are doing research on behalf of the institution is going to pay for it. So it's like earlier they were paying by right hand, libraries were paying, now the left hand will have to pay. And on behalf of authors, institution will have to be spending. Now, by one estimate, the total number of articles that are published today, which is now around 5 million, and if you look at all articles published by authors who have high fee, it's very likely that the cost of the cost of open access, making the content open access by high price journals, high APC journals may even shoot $10 billion. That's likely to happen. And even today, open access enthusiasts have no solution to this. As I said, publishers have hijacked it. Now, you just take a look at APC revenue growth of top 6 publishers. Now, elsewhere is one classic case, which you can see here. And their open access revenue, as you see down below, because their number of articles are increasing, they publish almost more than 20 to 25% of the articles that are published is published elsewhere. Now, it is average $3,000 they are publishing. Because they are publishing more, internally their cost is going down. But the OAS percentage revenue has gone up from 18% to 27% now. So here is a case of a few high-cost APC-based journals. Now, Nature, elsewhere, the Lancet is also an elsewhere product. Journal of American Chemical Society, which costs $3,500 APC charge. That one journal. AAAS, as I said, $3,000. Royal Society. So what's happening is OA journals are expensive to authors, subscriptions are expensive to institutions. Now, who is better? Who is the winner? Is green OA model practical? These are all the questions. We still do not have the answer, but the publishing game is going on. This just to give you an idea of how the number of articles are increasing. It's now what was in 1994 just 1 million articles per year. Today, all the research journals are publishing together globally 5.2 million articles. This just gives you an idea of the OA growth again, and on a cumulative 5-year cumulative data, where, as you see here, the number of open access content is, the good news is that is increasing. As you see here, in 90 to 9 earlier years, the open access content availability is very low. That is also a concern, because as you go backwards, in fact, if you go to a journal published in 50s and 60s and 70s, the open access is hardly 10%. So in scholarly world, even the retrospective content is very, very important. They are required often. So now the open access movement is focusing only on what is published in the last 10 to 15 years. Now, if you look at it, the only in 2015-19, that period, open access content was higher than the subscription-based content. Now it is about 61%. In 2025, when you look at it, it is almost 62%. In the last 8 months, what is published, I have shown here is the last 9 months. OA is 62%. While that's a good news, in this immediate access is, that is what we call immediate open access, without any delay, is around 52%. As you see here, OA has become a mainstream, globally mainstream today, and it's certainly irreversible. And we have open access journals and hybrid journals. And when you looked at the previous elsewhere slide, most of these publishers, their open access content is increasing. So it's irreversible, and we are likely to reach more than 90% open access in the next 2-3 years for several reasons, good reasons. But at what cost is one big question mark. Now, I think you are all familiar with open and OS. I will not spend much time on that. I just want to say, you can closely look at this slide on OS, which is both expansive and expensive, I would say. The public institutions have access to almost about 22,000 journals, not 22, about 12,000 journals, which they were not even, most of them were not even getting 200 to 300 journals. That's phenomenal, very expansive and equally expensive, because 2,000 crore is being spent, whereas India was spending, as of 2023, was about 1,200 crores. In effect, country is spending about 800 crores more. Now, this gives you an idea of ONOS collection of 12,800 journals, where there are 400 open access journals, and open access content overall is 3%, what they have access to. And there are another about 12,000, I think 11 to 12,000 journals, which are still subscription journals, which they don't get. In effect, ONOS is able to provide you access to nearly 50% of the subscription journals that are published today. That's certainly an achievement, except for the cost. Now here, there's a myth of only some 28 publishers in ONOS. It is not true. And because interestingly, a lot of big publishers, the way the publishing industry has grown so far, most of the big publishers have already licensed for journal publishing from small publishers. A lot of small society publishers, a large number of them, have given away the publishing rights to big publishers. You just take as one of the examples, if you can see here, you just look at Springer. Springer publishes totally 2,350 journals. In that, what is published by Springer is 1,886 journals. What is about 464 journals are given, 464 journals they publish for 60 small publishers. That is in case of Springer. It is much higher in case of Tyler and Francis. Tyler and Francis publishes about the journal. They have taken publishing rights for 643 small publishers. Wiley has taken rights from more than 500 publishers, and elsewhere from about 593 publishers. In effect, about more than 2,800 small publishers have given away rights to publish their about 4,300 by these big half a dozen publishers. So it's not really 28 publishers. This is the beauty of publishing industry as a whole. With the growth, there's a consolidation. But that consolidation is helping the big publishers.
Certificate వస్తుందన్నారా?
Okay, so now I'll skip this. Just to show about the OMOS. If in the OMOS journal collection today, if you look at it, in the last 25 years, what is the in the last 25 years, if you take, because OMOS is giving access to about some 30 years of journals. If you take 25 years, in there, about OA percentage is 47%. Switch it off, please. Cut my address. OMOS, sorry, about 47 in the, effectively, if you look at it, you see the 20 to 24, about 60% of the content is in open access. 2023, 52%. 2024, 59%. So it's all, this gives you an idea of how the, within 1 year, please take it out. Within 1 year, most of the journals published today will be available in open access. So OA percent is about 22% in OMOS content. OMOS, yeah. So OMOS debate continues because it reaches about 6,000 plus public institutions from 28 publishers, which accounts for actually, as I said, about 2,800 publishers, including their associates. Now, one of the things is the government should, and all the stakeholders, particularly the librarians and the institutional heads, should look at the alternative model possibilities instead of spending about 1,000 crores on the whole thing. And because InflibNet is now subscribing to some 30, it was subscribing to about 30 publishers. Now it has come down to 20 plus. There certainly are alternative models possible where publishers could have been persuaded to accept that model and make the content available instead of a subscription model. What aggregators in publication industry follow, they pay the publishers, like a publisher like an EBSCO or a ProQuest, they aggregate journals, and they pay the publishers, most of the publishers, if not a few, on a revenue share model. That means whatever revenue they get, a percentage is given to the publisher. So in the same way, it should be possible for the government to look at alternative models where there's a usage share based on the usage with some minimum caps. So the other issue is the peer review system I was telling you. I think Many of you know about it. Authors are particularly concerned about it today. It's crumbling because the system of peer review was really not, exactly which has evolved, was never ready for managing some almost about how many almost about 5 million articles published every year, 50 lakhs articles published every year. And it's very massive. So authors have to spend significant time in publishing the peer review, almost about 6 to 8 hours, average is 6. So now a lot of challenges are there in managing this peer review, and people have estimated the cost. Even if you pay a very moderate cost to the peer reviewers, which they are demanding now, many peer reviewers are demanding, and some publishers are also paying, even at a very moderate rate, it's going to cost about $2.5 to $3 billion. Now, it's something newly emerging. In this scenario, the peer review challenges may create a new bottleneck in the coming years. And as an answer to that, there are a lot of new journals are emerging, like overlay journals. They are gaining traction, preprint repositories. And now what is likely to happen and what is happening slowly is the treat journal as a barrier and remove the journal itself. Let there be a model. People are experimenting. Some of them have come out already, where they directly author deposits the article in a repository. The repository becomes the basis for a kind of an open public review or selected public review or private review, and then use the repository as the base to publish, not necessarily as a journal, but in some other different model. In effect, the journal is becoming the main challenge. Journal brand value itself is becoming a main challenge. While even if you don't give right to publisher for the article, the publisher still has a right on the journal as a brand itself. In the commercial world, the brand is not of value. So I will move on, not spending much time on this. So there are alternatives emerging. I think today we are in a situation where open access becoming more expensive because of APC. A new model, disruptive model, will have to emerge as soon as possible. I was telling you about the cost of peer review. This is based on 2020 data, where 4.7 million papers were published. They worked out the data is, I was telling you about $2.5 billion is a likely cost of peer review, taking 6 hours as an average. And that too, the authors paid a very small fee, not any big fee. So this same thing about yes. So the review cost per article will go up to something like $1,604. But it is likely to increase the average APC charges significantly. Now, the peer review, is a double-edged sword. What's happened is paid peer review is likely to emerge as an inevitable scenario because of the too many articles being published, which is again something bound to happen. While it may bring in an unbiased conflict of interest, etc. Some people feel that it's rational to compensate them and the ethical values will not be compromised. But in this process, what is likely to happen is, in a paid system of peer review, what's likely to happen is the publishers are likely to increase and also increase their prices because they have to add that cost, and it will create a new manpower, new research manpower, which is likely to be, it will become a component of scholarly publishing system. Right now, there is no organized manpower for peer review. Now, paid system will create an organized manpower for the publishing industry, which means it is likely to wean away a lot of scientific manpower for the job. In some way, it is likely to strengthen the publishing industry, which will completely, work against the primary interest of the movement itself. So now AI is likely to be somewhat promising because AI can reduce the cost of peer review. I'm not going to the details. In fact, AI is likely to reduce the cost of even information discovery, plagiarism detection, peer review, editorial operations. All these 4 operations have to search and check against a huge mass of content, the retrospective content, previous content in the discovery or plagiarism detection and all that. So that content is already available with in the public system, and AI is already having. Interestingly, AI does not have AI in the sense. A lot of commercial publishers are refusing to pay to the AI systems any content for developing their language model, and it will get into largely the licensing system, and their publishers may start playing a game. That makes it even imperative that open access movements, the objective is redefined by the OA advocates and stakeholders, and it is refined to address this challenge, and there has to be a system where the entire copyright, the journal should be completely copyright free. The journal publishing system will have to follow the Gandhian model. So in conclusion, I would say the OA, as I said, it is in mainstream, it is irreplaceable, and we have to fine tune the OA model. And alternatively, we have to think of something other than the journal, something as a replacement for journal itself. And OA also has lost quite a bit in emotional world of unaffordable pricing. OA enthusiasts and advocates never look seriously at the economics of it, because that's also one of the major challenge. Publishers became very clever. They knew the game of publishing, and they hijacked, as I said. So, and there is no difference between commercial and non-commercial publishers. Both of them are in the game of exploiting. But when you look at it, there are cases where at the cost per article, when you in the subscription model, the cost per article of non-profit journals was more than the cost per article for some of the commercial publishers. So I think libraries can play a lead role. While libraries have been strong advocates, they're somewhat invisible in the at the level of decision making, either the funding level, funding agencies, and at the institutional level. Libraries can play a lead creative role by repurposing libraries' journal budget to publication service and repositioning their role as internal publishing service providers. And this is an area where libraries have some innovative opportunity. And as I said, paid peer review is likely to emerge, and GenAI is likely to be, I feel it's a magic wand, and support it may come out with some disruptive publishing model. But all said and done, unless the scholarly journal publishing becomes copyright free, nothing can be done. So that's why I say it's time to break the journal and invent a new model, or there must be a copyright amendment. In fact, India can do it, but also in case of India, what happens, India publishes about 5,000 active journals, and 80% of that is open access. And our APC charges are anywhere between 10,000 to 25,000 rupees. So it's affordable largely. So it's hardly about, $100 to $100 to $300. Whereas globally it is $500 to $5,000 plus. So now for India, the bigger challenge is what they publish in international journals. India publishes about close to 300,000 articles per year. It is going down now. Actually, in the last 5 years, the number is going down. And out of 300,000 articles, they publish in international journals, Indian authors publish about 60 to 75,000 articles per year. Now, this is an estimate, about 75,000 articles, Indian authors publishing in international journal. Imagine the cost of 75,000 into average $3,000. That will be almost about, it will be almost about more than 200 million, I think about $2,000 million, I guess. It's something one has to calculate. Okay. So it's, for India, the bigger challenge is people publishing outside India. I mean, in international journals. I'm still wondering why India is a leader in digital, why we have not been able to be a leader in journal publishing domain, particularly because the journal publishing is entirely digital. This is a puzzle I haven't got an answer. And it's all about, again, the scientific community and the government will have to really take a look at it, make up. And why do you have to really publish in international journals? I can't make Indian journals stronger or create an entirely new model for global publishing itself. That's something India should take a lead, and that has to come from the scientific community. Unfortunately, scientific community has decided to pay $2,000 every year to the publishers. So with this, I thank you, and if there is time for questions, I'll certainly be happy to take it.
Thank you, Satyanarayana Garu. There are certain questions are there. I'm sure you will not mind to respond, right? Hello?
Yeah, I'm here, sir.
Yeah. There are a few questions are there. I will ask them, and then whatever, some of them I will ask directly the participant to address.
Okay.
One of the question is, now APC is burden to all teaching fraternity. Now who has to pay? And second question is, why they are not offering ONOS to PSUs? Because PSUs also, they are not research institutions, but PSUs also can make use of those things, not even though they are not directly research institutions. And this is one of the, can you answer please? Then another question is, how APCs are going to affect Indian research publication choices?
The last question, how APC is going to affect Indian
researchers' publication choices.
Okay, and I think there are a couple of studies that is happening, and we still don't have enough data on that. I think it requires a more serious study. And most of the Indian researchers, where they have collaborative publishing with the international author, they don't have any problem. There is significant publishing done out of some 70,000 plus articles. Quite a bit is published in collaboration with the international authors. And that may increase. What they publish from here, I mean, without an international collaboration, those kind of articles, they largely prefer the publishers, the society publishers, and rarely go to commercial publishers. But The commercial publishers are also offering them advantages to institutions. What do you call the new model that they are offering? What do you call that? I forget the name. Where the subscription and APC charges are clubbed. That will go only for a while. It is still very, Indian situation is still very nebulous, very hazy. Nothing has really concretely come out. The other two questions I couldn't get it. Can you repeat, sir? Dr. Rao?
Hello, can you hear me, please?
Yeah, I could hear.
Why the ONOSC is not given to PSU? Then second is how far ONOS will be able to help in improving the quantity and quality of our research output in India?
Yeah, well, the quality of research, the access to journal is only one of the factors that determine the quality of research. And if you look at it very interestingly, a lot of authors before ONOS started that got used to this Sci-Hub. They were all using Sci-Hub. And now with the 5 publishers going to court and the court giving a verdict, that became now it became a bottom. Now following that, this open ONOS happening certainly is helping our research community greatly. But I have, it's difficult for me to say because there is no study on the improvement in the quality of research that can be assigned to the easy accessibility of the journal. Easy accessibility of the journal certainly will improve the time of research. How it can improve the quality of research, I'm not sure. That is a factor that depends on the researcher, the institution, and several other factors. Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yeah.
PSUs, why they are not given access to ONOS journals? Do you think it is justified?
Access to whom?
PSUs, public sector undertakings, like BHEL.
Oh, the public sector organizations. I really don't know why they are not given access. Technically, they should be given because the thing is, they say all the research organizations funded by the government. It's a public sector company is not government funded. We talk about largely government funded organizations.
Oh, okay.
All educational institutions recognize the government funded organization.
Okay.
PhD is not government funded, they are all self-funded. They might have been provided capital by the government at some point of time. But they can't be called government funded organizations.
Okay.
That's the reason.
Okay.
It doesn't make sense to support a company R&D which has a separate budget for the R&D because their R&D budget will be so huge, and buying a journal or paying an APC charge for publishing an article will be a pittance for them. For filing a patent, they spend so much of money. Compared to that, filing and getting a patent granted, that compared to that exercise, what they spend as an APC is not much.
Dr. Yamini, can you please unmute and ask your question, please?
Yeah, like Chakravarti wants to ask some questions.
Yeah, 1 minute. Dr. Yamini, can you please unmute and ask the question?
Hello.
Yeah,
Sir,
please ask your question, please.
sir, actually, this is the general thing for professional institution authors can be published by subscription citation, like Scopus, Google Scholars, Matrix, like that. How can independents like publish articles by own like academia, sir?
No, I could relate Google Scholar to the publishing. Can you say, repeat your question, please?
For professional and institution journals can access subscription citations like Scopus, Google Scholars, Authors Matrix. How about independents like to publish article by its own if it is possible, sir? Or free accession like academia?
No, are you talking about the publishing or subscription?
Access. She's talking about access.
You mean to access to the academic institutions?
Access to the people who are working in academia.
Yeah.
Access to the journals which are not published by the academic institutions.
Not published by the professional societies, you mean?
Right.
Yeah, in fact, that is included. You know, all the major commercial publishers are including ONOS.
Dr. Chakravarti, can you please ask the question?
Yes, sir. Sir, good evening, sir. Satyanarayana Garu.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
Dr. Chakravarti, University Librarian, Usman University. We met, sir. Sir, my question is, what is the role of AI in open access, sir? Can you please brief me? Hello, can I repeat the question?
Yeah.
Sir, what is the role of AI in open access?
Oh, the role of AI in open access. Okay, you see, the AI is likely to broaden the base and reduce the cost of operation for everybody over time. See what happens, the peer review cost. Peer review cost can be significantly brought down by AI systems. Because normally authors have to make a search and compare whether anything published is already, what you call, not taken into account by the author, or in the plagiarism detection, for example, which is an additional cost. AI can automatically do that. And so peer review cost and plagiarism cost can significantly come down. In fact, even that may even become free also, because there is already a large body of knowledge. Assuming that AI companies will be able to get all the content, and it's not a big deal for AI companies. Like you look at someone like Google, Google AI. In the coming days, Google's annual revenue is about $250 billion, more than $250 billion. The journal publishing industry's revenue is only $10 billion. If Google minds, they can buy all the journal publishing industry companies. So I would imagine that they will be able to bring in all the journals published. So right now, they will not be able to have access. Publishers are not providing to AI machines for full text access. So that is likely to be taken care of by AI systems. Again, as I said, the plagiarism checking and a lot of other factors. So, and who knows, it may be possible even on the various editorial side and even on the writing side, authors can do a better job. So from all these factors, there will be a significant impact by AI on the whole writing and publishing itself. Yes, sir.
%62% of the journal articles are available in open access, and considerable number of articles are available through ONOS. Now, what is going to be the future? As already you told me 3 to 4 years, the open access may increase. But do you think that the government has to subscribe in the context of the open access? So many open access available. Is the government necessary for subscription and paying 2,200 crores per ONOS?
So from, so far, that the journal publishing is the total more than about 75% of the 70% I would say of journal articles are published, which are largely in the subscription journals, are published by US, Europe, most of the European countries, and Australia, Japan. Okay. Now, maybe even close to 8%. Now, Europe already has in place the API model, the APC model. UK already has it. Australia has it. US was the only one which is a major publisher, did not have the government fund. That's because there was no act, because the US open access policy until years ago was they should be make available. They were encouraged to. The policy was to encourage deposit. For on a deposit within 6 months of 1 year. Now during the Biden government period, about 2 years ago, before he left, he passed a law saying that within 3 years, the entire journal publishing should move to APC model in America. With that, there is an acceleration. So it is, we can expect, we are already seeing the result of that. There is a further trend in the open access acceleration. I would say that within the next 2 years, maximum 3 years, you would have more than 90% of the content immediate open access availability. So in that situation, I would say that ONOS is more a short-lived expense for the government, and they may have to move for supporting the APC very soon. So ONOS is unlikely to continue for.
Then I have another clarification, sir. Now 62% is open access.
Right.
Does it include preprints also?
No.
So if you add preprints, 62%, then pirated Sci-Hub, all these things put together, are we getting about 90+% of journal articles at free of cost?
You are right. If you add preprint, okay, the remaining 38%, a significant number of articles are available in preprint collection. So if you put together the open access content and preprint together, you have more than 90% open access already available.
Yeah. And what is the role of librarian in the changing situations, or what is the responsibility and role of the library and library staff in the changing context, especially providing access to the journal articles, latest journal articles?
I think you see, in terms of providing access, so many systems have already evolved. The library's role will be largely helping the users to be more aware of what is available where and what is easily accessible. Beyond that, there's nothing much libraries need to do at all today, because the users themselves, scientific communities themselves are now able to know about it. The role should be more for the libraries to look at how they can,
publicize.
Get into making publishing a more economical activity and a better, easily accessible activity.
No. Do you think that the library staff has more responsibility in publicizing the free journals or open access journals?
Yeah. So now I think because of the internet, the authors are already aware of it. Authors are the users. Authors know where to publish, and obviously they also know where to look for searching and accessing. So there are a lot of authors networks also available. If you look at it, things like ResearchGate, academia.edu, they're all directly. All these services are directly driven by authors themselves, because they deposit there also. More than depositing in their own institution, repository, library repository, they're putting it there. So they are much more aware than what we think.
Others. Any other question, please? Otherwise, we'll close the thing. I request.
Dr. Hiran,
Yeah. Go ahead, please.
Dr. Irana Chetar posed one question, sir. Just read it, sir.
Yeah, I'm not able to hear. Yeah. So please go ahead, sir. Hello.
Irena Shetter has posted,
Yeah.
sir, how will ONO's coverage of APCs affect Indian researchers' publication choices?
Yeah, the ONO's choice is very wide in the sense, all the major publishers are covered. So with the result, they have access to more than 12,000 plus journals. So that obviously will make the access easier and faster. So it's a anything more than that, there are another about 12,000 journals. They are not accessible, and that is where what has happened is there are a lot of areas while what you call if you go by the discipline wise, this is an area where it requires study. Whether all disciplines have got good enough access, because there are publishers specializing in agriculture, publishers specializing in medical area. Whether those publishers, simple example, like you take American Medical Association, it's an important publisher. They are not available through ONOs. So like that, there could be many publishers, useful publishers, they may not be available, and maybe they are not expensive. So now libraries, because now libraries are left with a budget, which they were earlier spending, they can use it for those journals.
Sir, one question, sir. How about the physical reading of content? Physical reading of content, will it just gracefully degrade from our society, social norms, with all the online content available everywhere?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. In our generation group, people above 50, we all prefer print. Even I would say even 40 plus, we all prefer print. I prefer an article and reading it, particularly when the article is 7 to 10 pages. Anything 2 to 3 pages, okay, you can see it on your laptop or mobile with some difficulty. It's I would say that the future generation may get used to it. There are studies to say that people do not spend more than about 8 to 12 minutes on any one thing on the screen. In case of ebooks, there are a lot of studies. The users spending time on ebooks is not more than about 8 minutes. This is an OCLC study. So that's still an issue. When it comes to books, most people still prefer print books. When it comes to journal articles, since the number of pages are not too many, maybe they get used to it.
But libraries are getting extinct because of this lack of good reading habits, physical reading. Many libraries are getting closed down, and that kind of thing we are hearing about it. Even in Britain, this has happened, and now in India, many libraries are struggling to survive.
Yeah, the libraries, the print-centric libraries with facility for reading, I think they're, I think they're and they're counting. In fact, they are likely to, over a period of time, extinct. but it may take a much longer time than as we know. But it's bound to happen because when things are easily available wherever you are sitting, why do you have to go to library? The only reason you have to go to library is for collaborative discussions and things like that. And that is the only one attraction area where people still may need to go to library. These are the issues, when you objectively look at it, libraries are transforming. There is a digital transformation happening. Now, if you want digital transformation, you will have to be willing for people not coming to library also.
Thank you, Satyanarayana Garu. There is, I know it's a big session, and thank you very much for a lot of information that has been shared by you. I know it's a big subject, and also you are master. There are a lot of things. Probably you can speak for a couple of hours also. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation, and thank you. Now I request Dr. Durga Prasad to propose vote of thanks. Prasad?
Sir. Good evening, sir.
Yeah.
Good evening to one and all. I am happy to propose vote of thanks in this particular guest lecture, especially Open Access Week. Open Access Week, who owns the knowledge topic. Chief guest organized by the TSLA on behalf of TSLA and the Government City College Department of Library Science. Chief guest of the program, Professor Pratap Reddy Garu, Vice Chancellor, sir, joined and spoke about information to be access to the all, and resource person NV Satyanarayana Garu, informatics, detailedly focused on open access journals, ONOS, and article publications. Really, it is a informative lecture, sir. Thank you very much for your valuable lecture, sir, on behalf of TSLA and Government City College, sir. And all the senior LS professionals and President Professor Lakshman Rao, sir, TSLA, and Secretary Dr. Ravikumar Garu, Government City College, and the Secretary of TSLA, and Dr. Chakravarti sir, Yadagiri sir, and all the senior LS professionals. Thank you very much for participating in this particular guest lecture on the occasion of Open Access Week this month 20 to 26. It is a rightly planned and executed from our Telangana State Library Association, and all the LS professionals, Divakar sir, Yadagiri sir, Ravi Kumar Garu, Tukaram sir, Vijay Kumar Garu, Iron Shitter, NIT Warangal, and it is a rightly organized and a very good, fruitful discussion among LS professionals, rightly given lot of clarifications, NV Satyanarayan sir, and Grace the Vice Chancellor sir also. And I thank one and all for participating in this particular.
Made it grand success. Made it grand success.
Durga Prasad Garu, we have to thank Gandhi Garu, who is behind all this technology, who has given us the facility of Zoom, who is handling, he has spent all 1.5 hours for us. And I, on behalf of everybody, I thank Dr. Gandhi Garu. Thank you very much, Gandhi Garu.
Sir.
I am not doctor, sir. I am only Sri.
Parle, sir.
Sir, YouTube live technically and all the support, technical support you have given, sir. Thank you very much, sir, Gandhi sir.
Sir.
And all the LS professionals, sir.
Video will share, sir.
Thank you one and all for made it grand success.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Right.
Even we have recorded also separately.
Thank you, sir. If you send it to me, I will forward to everybody, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Right now you can see also, you can forward right now also.
Sure.
Link we have given already.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Shall I close the meeting, sir? Shall I end it?
Yeah, please, sir. Please change it.